Good to see you both. Thanks so much for your time.
Good
Thank
to
you so
see you.
much.
Justin, I feel like sequels are very interesting because there's two things at play, and I'm wondering if you saw them as two different things or did they feel like kind of one big thing? Whereas it's always kind of the continuation of the story, these characters, but then it's also how are we going to make this bigger, better for a sequel? Did it feel like two different things or did it feel like one big kind of goal?
Well, as a director, I think there's always a dream. You know, you make your first movie, and that was my first movie, and I'm very, very proud of it. Of course, you spent all the time building the characters, building the sets, building the universe of that world, and you always hope that with all the work you put into it, we can continue the story. And when we were blessed with the numbers, the fan response, and having the opportunity, I, of course, jumped on board and took that as an opportunity to evolve the characters. So when it came to approaching the second film, it's funny that this actually question sort of came up before about whether when did I watch the first movie? And I actually watched the first movie maybe two, three times, just leading up to the second. To kind of give me some context, you know, what were some of the things that really worked for audiences? What are some things that audiences want to see? And what are some things that I also want to take to the next film? And in deep discussions with the actors, the writer, the producers, I think we came up with something really, really compelling. And so after that decision was made, I treated it as a completely different project. I was going to take the codes of the first movie, but evolve it so that it still is fresh and has a fresh lens and an approach that is exciting for audiences to see.
I mission accomplished because I really I enjoyed both films. I
Oh,
enjoyed
thank you
this
so
one a
much.
lot. It was really good. Rowan, good to see you again. I don't
It's
know
good to
time.
see you.
Firefly Lane. This was like I don't even know when the last time we spoke was, but it
It
feels
was
like it was
probably a
such a
couple
long.
years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Is it overwhelming? Is it exciting joining something that like existed before, like
Oh,
joining
yeah.
kind of a cast? Like, what's that like for you?
Totally. I mean, this is my first, I think it's my first sequel. And yeah, the pressure definitely it feels, especially with the social media response and how, yeah, like how invested everybody is. You come in and it kind of feels like first day of school vibes, but everyone was so nice and Justin was so communicative and awesome. And I really felt like I became part of the team very quickly. But yeah, I feel like the pressure is always on, and especially, yeah, when you're joining something so beloved. Yeah.
Justin, I'm really excited to ask you this because I'm sure a lot of people are going to ask you questions about, Noah and Siena's characters in the second and they're figured out. But I want to know what the conversations were like with Rowan and Charlie in regards to being these characters that kind of come in and not necessarily mess things up, but kind of like
Yeah.
become this like, new kind of part of this journey for these two characters, right? Like, what were those conversations? Because that could be difficult and a lot of pressure from an acting perspective.
Well, yeah. I mean, first I approach it from a pure narrative standpoint, right? Like we are embarking on a whole new journey. You have high school, which is about discovering, first love, where you want to be. The second movie is really about college life, and college life to me is about finding out what's one's priorities, what's one's identity, self-discovery, and all that. And in creating these two worlds, because as we saw in the end of the first movie, Drayton is now at USC, and Dallas is now at CalArts, two different parts of the same city, that they have their own universe. They have their own campus, their own bubbles. So what I was most intrigued about creating these two characters for Roan and Charlie to play is what questions can they pose our lead protagonists to challenge what their dreams are, who they are, what they really want in life, relationships, career, and goals. And then so that's how I saw it, is that what kind of perspective that they can bring to these characters.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like it also illustrates the contrast between their two worlds and ways in which that could pose conflict.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And then, Rowan, quick question before we wrap up. There's so many
Yeah.
ways we watch and consume media. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's kind of like streaming platforms, theatrical releases. You were on Firefly Lane where it kind of all drops, binges, and everyone watches it.
Yep.
Are you ever conscious of how the media you're making is being consumed while you're making it? Or is that something that kind of happens a little bit after you wrap?
Oh, that's a good question. You know what? No, I do think about it because I think that there's kind of like a different, I think streaming week by week feels different if you're doing episodic. I think that you have to pay attention to that because you know that the audience is going to be consuming it in a different way than if they're watching it all as one thing. Like, I think that when 10 episodes drop at once, you're almost making like a 10-hour long movie potentially if somebody binges that like front to back. Or if you're doing something that's on traditional network TV, then there's, you have to think about the act breaks and all that kind of thing. So I think I'm conscious of it because it's the same medium, but I think that it shifts slightly based on kind of the subsects.
Absolutely. And I can't wait to see Sidelined 2 Intercepted on Tubi. Justin, Roan, good to see you both.
It
Congratulations.
was so good to see you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.